Hello and welcome to Tales from the Keep. You guys, this is not how I thought we'd be starting this series, but your dungeon master's been under the weather for the last week or so as an early Christmas to you, you get to listen to the sweet, dulcet, inexperienced sounds of my voiceover while we make some Christmas treats. I think that sounds pretty good, don't you? Let's get into it. Starting off strong here with the Cranberry Euphoria bars, I'm gonna have you zest one of the two oranges I asked you to get. And if any of it gets stuck to the back of the microplane, just scrape it off with a spoon. Don't use your fingers like I did the first time I did this. It is not worth it. Now, if you want a chance to get these before they disappear faster than you can blink, I'm going to recommend locking them up or hiding them in an old butter container in your fridge where no one suspects that they might be. Go ahead and set your orange zest over by your mixer. We're going to use it in a minute, and grab those eggs for me. I need you to crack 2 whole eggs and 1 additional yolk. Now, don't worry if you have to use your fingers to separate the yolk and the white, or if you get any shell in it, just pick it out with your fingers. It's all gonna be fine. No one is here to judge you. Least of all me. I am just a voice coming from your phone and have no feasible way to judge you in this situation. Unless you forget to wash your hands after you handle eggs. No one wants the gift of a stomach bug this season. I will be judging you for that, so don't forget to wash. Next up, you're gonna grab your flour, grab your Accessibility 101, make your rib strips work. Now that you have access to your flour, go ahead and scoop 16 ounces or 2 cups or 1 pound if you're weighing it into a bowl or a measuring cup, whatever you prefer, and set that over by the mixer as well. For now, we're gonna cream that butter as well as that dark brown sugar. That's 6 ounces of butter and 10 ounces of dark brown sugar into a delicious smelling paste, to which we're going to add our salt, our vanilla extract, and our orange zest. Now, I know you're gonna be tempted to take a little spoonful of this, but don't just yet. I promise it gets better. Because next, we're adding our eggs one by one, and once those are fully incorporated, go ahead and toss your flour in, or you can spoon it in whatever measurements make you feel most comfortable, and watch this all come together into a delicious cookie web inside your bowl. Check this magic out. Are we understanding now why I said use a spoon? Absolute tragedy. See? What did I tell you? Absolute magic. Now, don't spoon any into your mouth just yet. 1, raw eggs. I don't know where your eggs came from. 2, we need to add 8 ounces of cranberries and 8 ounces of white chocolate chips, as well as either 3 tablespoons of crystal ginger, or if you're like me and you entirely forgot to get crystal ginger at the store, or your store doesn't have any, I'm gonna have you use ground ginger and measure with your heart. When it smells right, that is the amount that you can use. And if you're like me, you're gonna use a lot. No judgment here, it's delicious. I've had 2 of these since baking them already. Next, I want you to fold all of that deliciousness into the dough so that it can become one with the cookie. We're just gonna fold it in. Go on, fold. David, fold it. It's not that serious. There we go. Make sure you're scraping away from the edges of the bowl so that everything gets incorporated and nobody feels left out. Once you've got everything all nice and mixed up, you can feel free to go back and add a little bit more ginger if you feel like you haven't done enough, but then grab a pan for me. I want you to line it with a silpat mat or parchment, or if you don't have either of those and you are real desperate, butter the living daylights out of it so this cookie don't stick or you're gonna end up with a crumble. We're gonna turn this into a big cookie slab. I want you to go a little thinner than I did on mine. I forgot how much this rises in the oven, and it completely threw off the topping to cookie ratio. Go ahead and spread that further out in the sheet pan so you get a nice thin cookie. Speaking of topping for this, don't follow the measurements you see me using on the screen. Please follow the ones that I've put in the updated recipe that you're gonna find in the description below. Because I made double what I wrote down in my original recipe from 3 years ago, and it does not cut it. This needs triple, if not quadruple, the amount of cream cheese to powdered sugar and everything else in order to really make a delicious top layer on this. So you're going to use about 1.5 bricks of cream cheese, 16 ounces of powdered sugar, a teaspoon of orange zest, see, I told you it would come back, a tablespoon or 2 of orange juice, all up to your flavor preference, 8 ounces of craisins, and another 4 ounces of chocolate chips. Now, measure out your powdered sugar beforehand. We're gonna set it over by the mixer to go in a minute. Now it's time to grab that second orange. See, I told you it would come back. We're gonna zest this one just like the first, but when you're done, go ahead and grab a knife and cut it in two, because we're gonna use the juice of that orange as well to go in this topping. It is so delicious, and it just makes it shiny and citrusy and bright. It's so good. I cannot understate it. Wow, I'm really having trouble with this one compared to the first, aren't I? There we go. See? Now, it gets worse because I'm going to cut that orange in half and I'm going to try to stick it in a juicer before realizing that that orange is way too big. An absolutely pitiful attempt. If I were you, and I'm not, but if I were me next year, I would do what I'm going to resort to off camera, which is cutting this sucker in half and squeezing it in my hand over the bowl and using whatever juice comes out of it, which should be about 2 tablespoons. Use anywhere from 1 to 2, just depending on how strong you want the citrus flavor. See, look at this. No, this is sad. Why do I do this? Just squeeze the orange with your hand. Measure out some more of those cranberries, whatever your preference, the little dried cranberries, and more white chocolate chips. That'll be 8 ounces and 4 ounces respectively, because those are going to go in our topping too, and oh man, it makes this craggly, delicious, wonderful, wonderful crunch once it's all set from the refrigerator. Let's mix this into a topping. Go ahead and whip up that cream cheese until it turns into a floof. Come on, turn into floof. And then one by one, add about 1/4 cup of your powdered sugar at a time. You're gonna do 2 cups total, and it's gonna turn into this deliciousness before adding your orange juice and your orange zest, as well as your craisins and your chocolate chips. And oh my god, just watch it come together. I'm gonna be quiet now, just watch. Ugh, it's delicious. Again, scrape that away from the sides of the bowl so no one feels left out. Everyone can get in on the group hug. And then I spoon this into a glass bowl and set it off to the side while our cookie cools off. Next, we're gonna dive right into our toffee. This might be the most intensive process of the day. I assure you, your patience will pay off in dividends with a snappy, shiny, delicious toffee. Now this is going to be a pound of butter and a pound of sugar. But unlike a pound cake, we will not be adding flour to this mix. You're going to put this all in a saucepan, put it over medium heat, and then it's time to be patient. Something I am not terribly good at, as you'll probably get the idea here. I also like to add a 1/4 teaspoon of salt into mine. I just think it brings out the flavor a little bit more, but it is completely up to you. I use a candy thermometer for mine. You can go by color, but if you have a candy thermometer, the temperature we're shooting for is 290 degrees before pouring it onto a silpat mat or the shiny side of parchment paper. I'm about to get so impatient. Watch, there's like 6 jump cuts here because I was just standing there tapping my toes. I'm terrible at this patience thing. As that butter starts to melt, you do want to press it down a bit. I started with a whisk, which I don't recommend, but it all works out in the end because as it starts to reduce down, it melts off the whisk, and you are going to want to stir this continually. It's going to keep bubbling and bubbling and brewing, and eventually it is going to turn into a piping hot, volcanic, primordial ooze of sugar and butter, and it is going to start to smell so good. Once it reaches this amber color, or 290 degrees of the candy thermometer, pour it out onto a silpat mat. Make sure you get everything off the sides of the pan so you don't have to worry about cleaning that later, because that is a nightmare all its own. And while you're letting that toffee cool off to the side, fill that pan with a couple pumps of soap and some water and let it do its own work dissolving the sugar so you don't have to scrape at it. Ugh, it's a thing of beauty. Next up in the initiative order is going to be our gingerbread cookies. So that's going to be 4 ounces of dark molasses, which just makes this so rich and delicious. Along with that, you have 28 ounces of flour. Again, I'm using gluten-free, but you can use whichever flour suits you best, so long as it's made for the occasion. I know 28 ounces sounds like a lot, but this only makes 16 to 24 cookies, so you can double the recipe if you want. You're also going to add a teaspoon of baking soda, and then all of your spices. So a 1/2 teaspoon cinnamon, 3 teaspoons ground ginger, a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and a 1/4 teaspoon of cloves, and just stir it to incorporate all those flavors all the way into that flour, so that you don't end up with pockets of one spice or another and you get one cohesive gingerbread flavor. Now, I wish I had gotten more video of this mixing. Lord knows what happened to it. Thank you, iPhone, for that, I guess. But it's so beautiful. Look at this perfect color. You're gonna drop that onto some saran wrap as best you can. I'd recommend wearing gloves for this or putting a little bit of flour on your hands, because we're about to turn this into a gingerbread log. No, not for building, though we can talk structural gingerbread next year if that's something that you would like. No, this gingerbread log is going to go in our freezer for 30 minutes or until it turns into hoth, so that we can roll it out easier later. Now it's time to bring back that cookie and get the topping on it. Using an offset spatula or a flexible spreader like this one, make sure you get all that icing on top of the cookie. Now, I like using the flexible ones because I feel like it gets caught in the cranberry crags just a little bit less, but whatever your preference is completely fine. Just make sure you spread the topping out from edge to edge, leaving a little bit of room so that it doesn't trip over, and when you're happy with your work, go ahead and put her in the fridge, and in an hour, you'll have a tasty treat to cut and eat. Or hide. Don't forget that I taught you that butter trick. Moving on now to making the chocolate to top our toffee. Go ahead and fill a saucepan about 1/3 full of water and top it with either a slightly larger bowl or this double boiler that I got from IKEA for $6 like 10 years ago. Either way is fine. And fill it with 16 ounces, yes, a whole pound of your favorite semi-sweet chocolate baking chips. I like Ghirardelli because I feel like they melt a little bit more evenly, but don't let that stop you from getting any other brand. While we watch me ever so impatiently watch for the chocolate to heat up, go ahead and give your toffee a nice good scratch on the back so that the chocolate adheres really nicely once it's finally ready to pour. This is going to make sure that the toffee and the chocolate stick together instead of coming apart into toffee and chocolate instead of toffee with chocolate. I also like to prepare ahead of time and open my graham cracker crumble and just set it off to the side here so that I don't have to waste valuable time fighting with a bag. Because while your chocolate is cooling, the chances of your graham cracker adhering get lower and lower and lower, and we don't want you to have to fight with that. We just want it to work. My God, look at me. I am so impatient. As your chocolate heats up, it should take on this nice, shiny, beautiful sheen to it. And ideally what you're shooting for here is the texture of Nutella. So it should be spreadable, but not completely liquid. Too liquidy and it'll run off the edges of your toffee, and too solid and it'll be dull and crumbly. Ah, she's beautiful. Once your chocolate is ready to go, make a nice chocolate river right down the center of that big ol' slab of toffee, getting all the chocolate off the edges of your double boiler so you don't waste any, and give it a spread, again with an offset spatula or a flexible spreader. The trick here is just to make sure that you're creating plenty of geography for that graham cracker crumble to grab onto. The more hills and valleys your chocolate has, the better your graham cracker, your cinnamon, and your cloves are going to adhere. Ugh, yum. Now, I know that the recipe says that you need 4 ounces or 8 ounces of graham cracker crumble depending on how much you make, but you can use as much or as little as you want here. You don't even have to use graham cracker crumble if you don't want to. You can put the cinnamon and the cloves and the nutmeg or whatever you want straight on top. Some of my favorite toffees I've gotten over the years have been topped with candy canes and pretzel chunks, so you do you. Once that's ready and you're happy with your work, put it in the fridge next to your Cranberry Euphoria Squares and let it chill too. Our last recipe of the video is going to be our Snickerdoodles. So into a bowl, go ahead and put 16 ounces of flour, a 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, a 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar, and 8 ounces of sugar. Make sure that gets all mixed up in the group hug so that everyone gets to taste delicious. And in the bowl of your stand mixer, go ahead and mix 4 ounces of softened butter until it's nice and fluffy before you start to add an egg, 1 ounce of milk, a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and all of that delicious dry mix so that it turns into this lovely, lovely dough. Now, you'll notice that my instructions say stir until dough. It will be very apparent when this happens. There is no confusing it. While your dough is doughifying, go ahead and mix yourself up a little bowl of 3 tablespoons sugar to 1 teaspoon, or however much you like, of cinnamon. I like adding cloves to mine. I just think it is very festive for the season. And give that a little mix because we're going to be rolling our cookie dough balls in it. Speaking of balls, go ahead and make 1-inch balls of cookie dough and roll them around in that delicious cinnamon sugar dredge before popping them onto a pan. Make sure you coat all sides of it, and once you're done, don't toss out that extra topping because after you have pulled these out of the oven, you can dust them with a little more, and personally, I sprinkle them with a little bit more right before they go into the oven because I want them loaded up with holiday spices. Now that your little spheres of holiday goodness have been sufficiently dredged, why don't you go ahead and walk over to that cabinet for me and grab a drinking glass? No, no, we're not making drinks, but we're gonna use it for something special here. Now that you've got your glass, use the bottom end of it, as long as it's cold, it won't work if it's hot, and press down your cookies into nice little discs. That way they'll turn out nice fluffy cookies when they come out of the oven, and not cinnamon sugar planetoids. I have made this mistake before, and while they are still delicious, they are unwieldy. Now that you've pressed them down, you can give them another dusting in that cinnamon sugar mix just to make them all nice and craggly and make sure that all adheres in the oven. In the recipe, you'll see that I said to bake these for 12 to 15 minutes. Just make sure you keep an eye on them, and once they start forming nice little fractures around the foot of the cookie, you can pull them and they'll be nice and crisp on the outside and fluffy on the inside. While everything is baking, this is probably a good chance to clean up your kitchen. Now, don't think I got away from this episode unscathed. I did incur another burn, and I broke one of my favorite glass ramekins, which I'll have to see if I can make into a blooper for you guys. Since your kitchen is now sufficiently clean and easy to utilize, into a saucepan I want you to put 2 cups of sugar and 2 cups of water because it's time to make a simple syrup. No, we're not making drinks. That's over on the TikTok. I'll teach you how to make my favorite hot cocoa. Now, this simple syrup should be brought to a boil and left to roll for about 2 or 3 minutes over medium heat before being pulled and cold so that you can brush it over the tops of your gingerbread when they come out of the oven to make them all nice and shiny. Speaking of gingerbread, it's time to pull our log of gingerbread out of the fridge or freezer that you have it in, but make sure you flour your work surface first. I am not kidding when I say this. Use so much more than you think you have to, otherwise it is going to stick and it is gonna be a nightmare. Once you've gotten your loaf out of the freezer, break it into thirds, or if you have a larger counter than me, you can go ahead and roll the whole thing out. Make sure your rolling pin is also coated in flour because, again, the stickage. But it is going to be so satisfying. I don't know about you, but rolling pins are stress relieving for me. Once you've got that nice and rolled out, you can use a cookie cutter, or if you're me, a cold brew cup with the rim floured, to cut out some nice round gingerbread. I wanted to do gingerbread dice, but I'm not terribly coordinated. That being said, a butter knife will work just fine to cut this gingerbread, and you'll get some delightful shapes. So if you guys make something creative, share it down in the comments or over on our community page because I want to see your holiday baking. I'm so excited for it. Pop those into the oven for 10 to 15 minutes, just keeping an eye on them. If you can press your finger into the top and make a divot, they are not done. Once they're just a little bit firm, they're ready to pull. As soon as they're out of the oven, give them a nice brush with that simple syrup, and they will get so shiny while they cool, and they will have the best snap. Now, I know we have to do an obligatory plating, but this part is funny to me. I think primarily because I don't know what to do here, but I know I need to show off the food. It's almost like I look like I don't know how to do a cooking show or like I've never done one before. Oh, wait. That being said, as beautiful as my cute little platings are, and as great as the photos were that I got from them, find your favorite festive holiday plate or bowl. Ours have spider webs and are shaped like coffins. Pile them high or hide them in a butter container away from your prying hands of loved ones, and serve them up to whoever you see fit. This is my favorite part of the process, though. We are going to crack the toffee. Go ahead and lay some saran wrap over the top of it, grab your favorite dead blow hammer or thwacker, and give it a few good whacks at different points along the toffee to create nice big chunks. Now, we don't want shards that'll get stuck in your gums or in your little teeth, but just big old toffee bunches, craggles, enough to snack on. Ugh, it's a thing of beauty. You guys, thank you so much for baking along with me. I have thoroughly enjoyed this. I can't wait to see what you create, and I hope you all have a wonderful holiday season. And until next time, I'll see you in the realms. Happy eating, everyone.